Okay. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Cash Cuties,
a super personal finance podcast where we analyze our friends' credit card statements and judge their spending habits with love. I'm your host, Fumi Abe.
And I'm Stuffy Bake.
Dude, I'm sorry. Did you just write that, or is that the ghost?
Dude, what just happened? I'm
oh
scared.
my god, dude! Why are you typing in the Google Doc right now?
Dude, I'm not. Dude, stop.
No,
stop.
do you see that? Do you see it?
No,
it says
yes.
it says ooh 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 ooh.
Dude,
why is the ghost horny? Why is the ghost? The ghost just highlighted what it wrote.
I can't believe you're experiencing this thing that I've been secretly experiencing for so long.
It went away. The ghost just deleted.
No. I did that.
Okay, wait. Just for context, the listeners, Steph and I are sharing a Google Doc as we typically do for episodes, and she claims that her computer has been haunted and has been doing weird things. I didn't really believe her. I was shitting on her earlier. As we were doing this intro, the ghost just wrote in the outline in all cap letters, ooh, 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 ooh.
Dude, it's doing it again right now.
Where? I don't see it.
Down here, it says ooh, 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 under Dono Daddies. God. Well,
oh, fuck. Okay.
I don't talk about it because I'm like, I don't know. I feel like this person is trying to, or like this ghost is trying to talk to me, and I've written it all down in my journal. Every time it happens, I write it out.
Really?
Yeah, it's a little creepy because
I love that how you went straight to ghost and like completely ruled out the possibility that you may have spilled coffee on your laptop and it's fucked up now.
Well, that's probably more likely, but then that's
you went
boring.
Straight to ghost. No, you're right. I think what happened is you did the seance on my Prius, and then that ghost, now lives in your 2016 MacBook Pro.
It followed me into my house.
It did, yeah.
It got piggybacked onto me, and now it's in my fucking computer, so thank you.
And that's why you're a great friend, because you're willing to take a ghost for a friend. A lot of people take bullets for a friend. Steffi's down to get possessed by the dead.
Ghost.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Anyways, I am Fumi Abe.
And I'm Stuffy Bake. Announcements. If you're listening on your Apple Pod app, please leave us a review, hit follow on Spotify, and sub to our YouTube channel for the video version of this podcast. All links are available in the episode description below.
That's right, guys. We're currently at like 1.5K on YouTube. Help us get to 2,000. Help us get to 10,000. And that way we can make more money on it. And it's a good time.
Dono Daddies, it's time to thank all our Patreon and our listeners who have helped us with our videos here, hosting services, equipment, audio equipment, and our hard work.
Yes, it's nice to get paid to do podcasting because there's so many podcasts these days, and it's hard to make money unless you're like really big.
But that's why we love our fans.
We love our fans, and I think we skipped a couple of weeks, so we have a lot this week. So just want to give a shout out to all these people. Aaron R, $5. Thank you so much.
Aaron P, $5.
No, that's Alex P.
I'm sorry. Alex P, $5.
Michael O, $10. Thank you.
Ashlyn L, $5.
Mikhiel, Mikhiel, L, $5. Thank you so much.
Condra W, $8.50.
$8.50. That's so random. $8.50.
I know. I like it. I think it's meaningful to them.
Jennifer S, $5. Thank you.
Strong Asian Lead. Thank you. $5.
It's a great first name for a kid. Someone named Jay gave us $20. Thank you so much, Jay.
Toasty Flatworm. Love that. $5. Cute.
Toasty Flatworm. Love that. Chris M, $4.50 UK pounds. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and Jennifer G, $10. I'm about to go see Chris M in the UK.
Oh, that's
If this episode comes out before I'm going to be in the UK, so please send me recommendations, or if you want to hang out, let me know. I'll be around.
Two things. One, it's Joseph G, not Jennifer G. But also, wait, do you know Chris M? Are you really going to go hang out with him?
Yeah, he's from Fun with Dumb.
Oh,
he's
okay.
a loyal
that's nice.
fan.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, he's not
you're
just
hanging out with fans now. Hey, that's what you get. If you give us money, we'll hang out with you. And the price is actually quite affordable. To hang out with Steffi, you just need $5. She'll give you an entire evening.
I mean, he's like sent food and like snacks and things like that.
Yep,
so hold on, I'm
$5 and a meal and a bag of fucking chips. It's all it takes.
Actually, yes, I will hang out with you for that.
So funny because I feel you spent the first 15 episodes being like, I'm Steffi, like I deserve this, like you need to do this for me, and now you're like, yeah, if you got some Pocky on you, I'll fucking chill with you.
Bro, yeah, I'm actually with food. It's actually it doesn't matter what it is. Cheesecake Factory. Hey, I love Cheesecake Factory. McDonald's Big Mac. I'll do it.
Love that.
Yeah. So please go onto our Patreon at patreon.com/cashcutiespod and support the pod.
Yay.
So Fumi, I want to hear about how you're doing financially.
This week, I wanted to talk to you about this because I wanted to get your opinion on this. This week I had a very unstable financial week, and I'm not talking about like in the literal sense, but like, you know how you can be poor literally, but also you can be poor mentally. You know what I mean? Like the way you see the world is through somebody who may not be making as much money as you want to be. So I'm doing a show in San Francisco next week. Go to fumiabe.com for tickets if you want to come see me in Oakland.
Support him.
And it's not like a lot of money. I knew this going into it. I'm doing like 4 shows, and I think I'm making somewhere between $400 to $600. It's not a lot of money. I knew this going into it, but you know, I want to do like a longer set. So I was like, all right, this will be an investment. You know, I was thinking about what Joe said on our podcast. He's like, just because you're not necessarily making money, you know, in that experience doesn't mean it's a bad investment. You know, like I could get some funny clips and maybe that'll go viral on Instagram or whatever. It'll make me a better comedian. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go do this. But because I'm only making $400, $500, I'm gonna try to cut back in other places so that like this isn't gonna be. I don't want to like lose money doing this. So I figured I'm gonna drive to San Francisco because I got my little Prius. People have done it. It's not that far, you know. It's if you leave early in the morning. So I figured I figured I'm gonna drive there, right? So I'm like, all right, because on the Prius I can probably go there on like 1.5 tanks, which is probably like $60 for me. So it's like maybe $120 round trip.
Have you even like ever been on a road trip? Like, are you? I know you're from the East Coast.
I went when I was so when I graduated high school, me and my 5 best friends, we did an East Coast road trip. But I never drove because I was a diva, and I was like, no, I get too sleepy, I can't drive. So
you've never done this, and you think that this is gonna Dude, I don't know, man. You've had some weird shit happen with your cars. I'm sorry to put that out there.
Oh, what the fuck? You're going to put the ghost on me now? No, take the ghost back, bro. Take the ghost back.
I just worry about you and that goddamn car. And you're about to do this crazy thing, drive all the way. I don't know, to SF. That's
You've never driven to San Francisco?
I have, but I've like been driving for a while. You lived in New York for like 10 years or something. Like
it's just a fucking highway. You just take the 5 or whatever the fuck, right?
Oh, you sweet, sweet boy. The things you will see on the road.
So anyways, so I'm like, all right, I can save money this way. I don't mind waking up early to drive. Like, and also, you know, to your point, like when I do college shows in like random cities in America, I've flown into like Indiana and then driven like 5 hours to like some small city to do a show. So I have driven like, I haven't done like a 10-hour trip, but I think San Francisco is like 6 if you like wake up early enough. So I was like, that's fine. So I'm like, all right, I'll save some money there. And then I was like looking at hotels. And as you know, I'm a little bit stingy when it comes to hotels. And then especially because I'm like trying to save money because I'm not making that much. So I'm looking at hotels and they're kind of pricey. A lot of them is like, you know, like $150 a night, $200 a night. And I'm like, that's the whole fucking budget, you know? And I was like, and I would usually stay with a friend, but I've asked to stay with her like so many times. I feel too guilty to stay with her. So I was looking at some Airbnbs. Airbnbs are also really expensive. And so I was like, you know what? Why don't I just sleep in my car? Like maybe I could just sleep in my car. So I started going down this like Reddit rabbit hole of like how does one live out of your car? And I was like, as long as I can shower, I'm fine. Like my car's pretty comfortable. I've napped in there before. Like it's fine. So I was looking at like places and people are like, you can sleep in the Walmart parking lot as long as you buy something, or like try 24-hour gyms or like whatever. And I was like, my biggest fear is I know in San Francisco, Toyota Priuses get targeted for their catalytic converter. So I don't want to like be a victim of crime. Like I don't want people to be fucking with my car while I'm in the car because I figured if they see me in there, they might freak out and try to kill me or something. You know, I don't want to like die over $150.
Oh my God,
you know what I mean?
Dude.
So I was like, maybe it doesn't. So then I started looking at camping sites and I was like, maybe I'll go like to a camping site and just sleep in my car there. Cause then then I feel safer and I have access to a shower or something, you know? So I was doing all this research, but then I was like, I was fully gonna do it because then I was like, I'm gonna save money. And I'll get like a Planet Fitness membership or something. I'll just shower there. It's fine. But then this past Sunday, I did a show in San Diego, which is not even that long of a drive, but I left during like pretty heavy traffic. So it took me like 3.5 hours to get there. And on my drive, I got really sleepy. And so I was like, this is getting really dangerous. So I pulled into a rest stop and I was like, I just need to like close my eyes for a little bit because it feels dangerous to drive on the highway like this. So I like slept in my car and I realized like how uncomfortable it is to sleep in your car. It gets so fucking hot in there and you feel like you can't roll down your windows all the way because you're sleeping and anyone could fuck with you. You know what I mean? Like you feel unsafe. So you kind of like only have your windows down like an inch, which isn't enough to cool the car. And it's so noisy and it's so bright and I couldn't sleep at all. And I was like, this is what it feels like to live out of your fucking car. So then I got to San Diego and I booked myself an Airbnb, a cheap one. But I went through this whole like homeless thing and I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. Like what would you do in this situation if you were me?
I've actually experienced sleep in the car a couple times after
like
fights.
a sexy time or like
no from like fighting and being like, this is a completely different version of me, but this is like when I was like really avoidant and I would get
shout
into
out.
like
Shout out to all the avoidant cuties out there. Shout out to all the avoidant cuties out there.
So many of us, so many. We're monsters.
Wait, tell me more.
In cutie outfits, okay? I got into a huge argument with one of my long-term boyfriends, and I just did one of those things, you know, I got fucking angry and instead of talking it out, this was like over 10 years ago, I was at his place. I was supposed to sleep over. I got in my car and I said, I slammed the door. I was like, I don't need you, whatever. I walked in and I was like, fuck, I'm in a different state. I have nowhere to go. Like, what am I planning on doing? I was like, I had no plan. I just knew.
You're in a different state?
Yeah. I was in a different state. I mean, close by, but I had driven. I mean, yeah.
You drove. This is your car, or you're on vacation?
Yeah, this is my car. This is my car. I drove to a different state, and I was staying over on vacation at my boyfriend's house at the time, and I parked outside, but I had nowhere to go, and I wasn't gonna pay for a room, so I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna sleep in my car. It's fine. It is totally fine. And I was so lonely and miserable, and I was like, I could just like say sorry and go back in, but I have such a fucking ego. It's huge. It was huge at that time, and I was like, and I just like he was texting me. I could have hit him back. I didn't. I just stayed. I was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna. So I could have. The hotels were like $300-$400. I was like, this isn't worth it. And I was like, I'm gonna show him. So I slept in my car.
Did you sleep in the car right outside his house, or did you drive
of
somewhere?
Course. No, I'm not crazy. I went 2 blocks. But I was so fucking scared.
Right.
And there was, but do you know what I did do is I went to the local Target and I bought a blanket.
That's really cute.
Knowing that I was gonna return it after.
That's
so I used
so funny. This is interesting.
Cute?
You used to be like me.
That's why I know when you have your little avoidant tactics of being like, yeah, we've gone into a couple little arguments where I think more so you're throwing a tiff. Like, I think you're being like, I think of you as like a giant baby, you know? And I am like that sometimes with my significant others, even now, because I'm still like going through the process, but I've been that person. Yeah. And so I just sit there and I'm like, okay.
You know my moves.
Like, I'm like I feel like I'm kind of like the sister or the mom, or I'm like,
yeah.
Well, like,
that's
all
so
right,
funny.
just.
Anyways, yeah, I mean, I was fully prepared to sleep in this fucking car, but it is scary. I mean, for reals, like, safety is a concern, especially because like, I don't know if you guys know this, but like, yeah, San Francisco, like, very like famous for people just breaking into people's cars and shit, you know, and like, yes, I want to like not lose money on this trip, but also like, my therapist was like, yeah, are you trying to like, would you risk your life to save $200? Like, you know what I mean? And so, you know, sometimes I spiral financially, so that's sort of where I'm at financially.
I think for someone who's very planned, I don't like. It's hard for me to imagine you doing something like this and not
But I was
feeling
gonna go
like
to
crazy.
campgrounds, you know.
But not feeling
If I went to a
crazy.
campgrounds, it's not that crazy. But you're right, it is a little out of my comfort zone. But I was going to plan it. You know what I mean? Like whenever I'm trying to create a controlled environment where it's safe for me and my Prius. But
It's like, yeah, controlled chaos.
controlled
You're like-
chaos.
yeah,
Yo,
you,
put
like-
that on a fucking hoodie, bro. Put that on a fucking hoodie. Controlled chaos, dude.
There you go.
Merch. Where you at? Where you at?
I'm
Anyways.
on it. I'm on it.
All right, Steffi, how are you doing financially?
Oh my god. It is wild out here.
Is it?
No, I think that it's so funny because like when we get to this point where we got to think of some of these, like, what have we gone through financially? Normally it's like really easy, but I think when I'm dealing with I'm traveling and like all these things that I have to plan before traveling, and okay, I think for me, you know how you have control chaos? For me, it is chaos to be controlled. I feel chaotic trying to plan things.
Oh, okay.
It's stressful for me to follow a list of plans, like, and to write out the plans. Because now, the minute the plans are written, I have to do every single one of the things that's like written on the list, or I will go crazy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's been making me stressed out, and so. But anyways, while doing that, I decided I needed to like sell all these clothes that I decided to put into, like, I had to take on this like huge project. To me, this was a huge project because I've gone a year and a half of not cleaning out my closet.
Mm-hmm.
It's spring, so I wanted to get rid of shit. I can go on so long, and I think we're going to do a separate episode about this, so I'm not going to go too much into detail, but I wanted to sell a couple of these bags of clothes, and I realized that selling it to different parts of the city for the exact same chain, like Buffalo Exchange, is completely different. Like selling to the Buffalo Exchange in Santa Monica is different from selling, 20-minute drive in Melrose to, the one out in Long Beach. Oh my god, look at the ghost.
The
Look at
ghost.
the ghost.
Wait. This is so crazy. The ghost just put heart emoji, fist pound emoji, heart emoji, fist pound emoji. And you know what's crazy about this? I don't even know how to write emojis in Google Docs without copying and pasting from Google Images.
I don't know, bro. I'm scared. Do you think that it's telling me I'm doing a good job by talking about this?
You know, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was just spelling out ooze earlier, like I was like, okay, clearly this is like a mechanical malfunction.
Yeah.
But now that it's like showing a little bit of personality, this ghost. Like I think this ghost shops.
It's giving.
I think this ghost also likes to thrift or something.
Yeah, it does. It's like, good job. Because it's like the heart emoji with the face.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to show you my hands. I'm not touching it. This is literally the computer.
This is insane, but
and
please
its
continue.
own little thing.
Please continue.
Yeah, anyways, it's because it's happy. I guess the ghost has been stressed out, like watching me deal with this and like not. I've been having bags of clothes in my car for 3 years that I haven't sold.
What?
It's been in my car. Like, I haven't sold because I'm so fucking attached to the clothing. So this has been a big feat for me to even like go into the shop and like sell this shit. But anyways, the point is they're different, and we're going to go into it in a different episode. I just wanted to say I have made $120 so far. So I'm very proud of that.
Is that a lot good or bad? I have no idea.
It's about 17 pieces of clothing, and it's pretty good because I think most people who try to sell their clothes always talk about how they've taken bags of clothes and they don't take anything, and it makes them feel bad. It's like a form of rejection when they don't take the clothing, because you're like, oh, do I have bad style? But bro, like, these are things I've had for a really long time. But if I can sell a few pieces, and mind you, some places took more of my vintage pieces while some didn't. So I think that the way to get around selling your clothes is you got to go to the different, even if it's the same chain, like Crossroads or a Buffalo Exchange, 2nd Street, like make sure to go to the different ones in different locations because the buyer market in that neighborhood is going to be different.
Right. Like different neighborhoods demand different types of fashion. So if you're like basic, you should go to, I don't know. What's the most Culver City or some shit?
So like for me, I went to, wait, what's that? What was
like
your question?
if you're like a basic bitch, where do you go?
like go to Santa Monica.
Santa
like
Monica.
it's gonna sell. It's gonna
Shots
sell
fired.
better.
Shots fired. Shots fired by Steffi. Oh shit.
I think that like the west side is just a little more basic. Like
I agree with you.
It's not gonna be. They're not gonna wear the vintage pieces. But like people in Melrose, if I sold like a cardigan that's like a 1960s cardigan that I bought for like literally $200 at, this is when I had money, at like the American Rag in Melrose, it's still not going to sell at the Melrose place because they buy streetwear and high-end fashion. But if I sold that piece at the one in the east side, like that would actually sell for probably like $60-$70.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I did sell one piece of clothing that was an ex's. This is a great way to get rid of your exes and also feel like you're like kind of having a one. Well, also moving on, but also being like, oh, I got something out of the relationship. It's your fucking pieces of clothing. I had a streetwear piece, a Palace. Do you know Palace? It's like a sports skateboard brand from New York. It's like very like cool. I sold that shit for $80, bro.
And that's something your ex-boyfriend bought you, or this is your ex-boyfriend's clothes?
No. They left it.
They left it. That's very funny.
Yeah,
selling your ex-boyfriend's leftover shit.
I also do this thing where I think when I date somebody, I want like a piece of them, and so or like I want a piece to like think about them when I wear it, right, to sleep when they're still around. But when they're gone, sometimes the pieces are around, wink wink, or I keep it, and so but I think about it, I'm like, oh, I actually these guys, like this guy sucked or whatever, and I'm like, I need to like do something about this to make myself feel better. So then I'll go try to sell the pieces, and I've made a few $100 probably in the total of like relationships that I've had with the pieces of clothing.
That's pretty incredible.
Left.
I do want to ask, like, do you think that which one is better? You break up with boyfriend A and you sell some of his clothes and you make $200, or you break up with boyfriend B and you try to sell his clothes and you get $0? Does that say anything about the relationship?
Okay, hold on. I date really gooby people. I love goobers.
What's a goober? You keep saying that word. What is a goober?
It means you're kind of basic, I think.
Oh.
So I'm not that big on like someone who like dresses really fucking fashionable or anything. I do like it, but I don't want them to be more like I don't want someone who's like more vain than I am. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Like I'm already like a lot. So like if someone else is there like spending a shit ton of time on their hair or their outfits, it would fucking annoy me because like I think it's like a projection of my own insecurities, and I'm like, okay, no. So I think that in the end I would choose. No, actually, you know what? That's a hard question to answer. Like, it's more about the personality. But
right.
Yeah. No, it's not really about the clothes. But yes, I would obviously want to make some fucking money off these people. A goober is like someone who just probably just. I feel like they're kind of basic. They're very happy-go-lucky. They're they do live on the west side.
I guess.
You know?
Yeah, I haven't met a lot of your boyfriends to like make a educated statement about this.
They're simple. Like my sister like my sister thinks all my exes are fucking boring. Like I hope none of my exes are listening. I mean, it doesn't really matter. My sister and I have very completely different tastes, but she's always like, that person's so boring. Like, why are you with this person? Like, and I'm like, they're safe. That's another thing. Goobers are typically safe.
Oh, they're safe.
They're responsible.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I understand. Safe dick is good.
I want that. Yeah. STD free dick, dude. Like
STD free,
safe, clean.
comes with retirement. Yeah.
Never touched. Hey, virginal. I mean, that's fine with me. You know what I mean?
Virgins? Like, don't say that on the internet, Steffi. Your
Why?
DMs. Check your DMs now. It's just
I
packed
meant
with a bunch of virgins.
40-year-old virgin. Oh my god, what's happening? Host disabled. What the fuck is happening?
Dude, the ghost is fucking with your camera, dude, because the ghost is a virgin. The ghost died a virgin, and now it's excited because you said you like to fuck virgins, and now the ghost is fucking with your camera. Now, the listeners, you can't see what I'm talking about, but Steffi and I are on Zoom, and her camera keeps turning on and off every time Steffi excites the ghost. Anyways.
Anyways, maybe we should cut that part out. I meant virgins that are like 40 years old. Okay, so let's just clear
Okay,
that
yeah.
up.
Okay. Cool.
What am I saying? What's going on?
I don't
okay.
know what's going on.
Okay,
Let's move on.
Okay, so today's episode is actually gonna be about food festivals.
Yay.
Fumi and I were both invited to a festival, a food thing recently, and we wanted to discuss it because I just think it's like such a particular thing that probably mostly like bigger cities have on. Would you say that? Like it's like a popular thing that probably 7-8 years ago kind of started becoming popular. It's putting all these, having little vendors at a space and then having people pay for the entrance to go and then taste all these little restaurants.
I think it's tough to I don't know exactly what the definition of food festival is. I think I would like to make the distinction between like a food festival and like a smorgasbord situation, which, I think exists in a lot of. It's interesting you say cool cities because now that it's 2023, I think these kinds of festivals and events actually do exist in like second tier, third tier cities, like a Phoenix or fucking Columbus, Ohio. Whereas like the first time I went to a smorgasbord in New York in like 2009, that shit was like brand new and people were so excited about it. Now this is a food festival where we didn't have to pay because we were invited, but you have to pay like $30 or $40 just to get in. And then once you get in, it kind of looks like a music festival, but imagine if there's no stages or bands and it's all like little food vendors. And that was sort of the vibe, which like sounds cool when I'm describing it to you. But Steffi and I had like an interesting experience there because we had sort of high hopes, or at least I had high hopes. I've never been to a food festival before. And we get there and like, I guess like, we want to talk about this partly because to discuss like food festival culture and the type of people who go to those things to seek out fun, but also like our own experiences with it. And I think one of the reasons why I didn't have like an amazing time is because like, yes, I got it for free. Awesome. Save $30. That turns me on. But then I get there and I'm like, okay, I'm hungry as fuck. And I'm looking around and like every dish is like $15 to $20 and they're not that big. And as I was like enjoying this festival, I was like, well, what's the point here? Like people paid to be here and then I have to pay more money to try all these foods. So I have to drop like $200 to have like an okay time. That was sort of like my initial
takeaway. For me, you need like fucking 20 dishes to like satisfy your appetite? What is happening here?
Well, it was I don't know what you were, but my dishes were kind of small. These weren't like $20 at the Olive Garden. You get like a plate full of three things. It was like pretty small.
Okay, Fumi, you're exaggerating right now. It was $10. Okay, being a
it was $15. Okay, but go ahead.
Okay, being a cash cutie, I went around and I am. This is not just like I'm doing this for the pod. Like I am that girl who is always checking the prices for everything. I can't not do it unless I'm making a shit ton of money, right? But I can't help but look at and negotiate. So we got one. This is the annoying thing. Okay, I think the setup was I'm going to this food festival and we like food, very exciting. I love festivals, lots of fun.
Yeah.
So when I went, I was like, oh, this is going to be fucking awesome. They gave us, for VIP access, they gave us one token. That means one token to eat any food at like, I think there was probably like 30 to 40 like vendors. And these are restaurants from LA that come and they, you get a taste of their food, but it's usually like their most popular dish that's being served. I looked around, everything was like about $10 to $12. I had to get the most expensive thing. So I went around all of the places and I found that the $17 French fries with cod roe on it was the most expensive thing. So I brought my friend because we had a guest and I had him get that one token for the most expensive. That was that $17. It was subpar at best. Like, because how can you expect to have restaurant quality food outside in the cold in a small ass kitchen with like one burner? That like makes no sense.
So my thing is like, I guess like, yes, maybe I'm exaggerating with the prices, but like, okay, just let's take the word festival. Like if I go to a music festival, like if I go to Coachella, whatever, I pay to get in, and now everything is free inside except the food, right? Like the music is free because I'm paying to be here, so I can go listen to whatever the fuck band I want to. That's why music festivals can be fun. I think with food festivals, you walk in, I'm like, why isn't the food free or heavily subsidized by the sponsors or something? Because you're right. Like, yeah, do I need to pay $200 to eat everything? No, but I'd like to try a little bit of everything. I think, isn't that the whole point of a food festival? Like, let me try the food, right? And
Absolutely.
It's like, if everything is priced at 10 to 15, I can't keep doing that. And the other thing is, like, I saw so many people there with their friends and like whatever, and I'm like, what are you guys doing here that's so fun? Like, you all get one thing to eat. You sit down. It takes you 7 minutes to eat it because they're so fucking small. And then now what? You're just watching other people eat. There wasn't a lot of activity to do there, and it just kind of like, I think we like briefly texted about this, but like I was more interested in like what kind of people find this event fun. If there's any Cash Cuties out there listening who are like, I love food festivals, I love food events, what is so fun about it for you? Because for me, it was just like there was a lot of pain points. Every time you have to shell out money, it's a pain point.
Totally. I think I thought after this, and I think you agree, I was like, oh, I'm never going to another food festival again, because I've never had a great time at a food festival. The 2 times I can't think of right now off the top of my head, they're the only ones that like stick in my head that I actually like kind of enjoyed, right? Was exactly what you're talking about, which is we paid at top. There's this food and wine festival back in the day. Like, it was probably one of the first festivals I went to. I think it's on the Paramount lot here. I think it was like the VIP was we paid for it. It was like $100 or something. But the minute you walked in, there was you could get whatever you wanted. Like, you don't have to pay for anything else. It was already set up. The vibes were good. It was at nighttime. It was the summer, so it was like warm. There's lights. I think the vibes are really important too.
Yeah.
And the vibes were off at this event.
It was sponsored by like a fucking credit card company or something. So already the vibe is feeling like very, I don't know what the LA equivalent is, but like if you live in New York, the vibe was very like Murray Hill, if that makes sense, Oh,
like Murray Hill, like to me feels like cold, empty lot, like just kind of like this like sad buildings. Like that's the vibes, right? Of Murray Hill. Is that
Murray Hill in New York is like where the bros live, and so it's like they don't know how to like. I think they're bad at having fun is the conclusion I came to. I think it's like we have a lot of money, but we don't know how to make a fun event. And so we're just going to throw money at the things that are supposed to be fun. So yeah, festivals are supposed to be fun. Food is supposed to be fun. And they like sort of build out this thing. But you're right. It felt there was a sterile element to it, Do you think, because first I was like, oh, this event is for people who are bad at having fun. But then now my question is like, do you think anybody was having fun? Do you think there are people who are having a great time?
You know who was having fun? People that were drinking. People who were probably out of town. People who aren't used to these festivals. I think those people were actually having fun. And there were also speakers involved and who were celebrities.
There was one speaker.
Was it Oh yeah, just one for the day.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. And
but who fucking? I don't know. I mean, to your point,
I think that's what sold the tickets. I have to imagine
the name of the people who were
the person that I think that's what sold it. But I gotta tell you, I was there for it, and it just again.
Well, because they're just being interviewed about food as opposed to being asked to do what they're known for. Like if I said like SZA is gonna be at this festival, yeah, I can sell it out. But people want to hear SZA fucking sing and not like talk about what their favorite lunch spot. Nobody fucking cares, like.
I came around after an hour because I had to kind of leave after like the first 10 minutes because I was like, this is so not it. I felt bad for the guest. The guest actually, or the person speaking. And then I came back an hour later and they're like, so what's your favorite breakfast food? Was like literally one of the questions. Out of questions.
That's so funny.
And there was like literally nobody around the stage anymore. And I was like, oh shit, they should have left this person after 10, 15 minutes because this person does not deserve this.
By the way, we're like sort of like not saying names because we don't want to shit on anybody and the people who invited us. Sorry, I just burped.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting us. We had a great time.
What a great time.
We had a great time. But no, we're not shitting on the people who invited us. Okay, we're just shitting on the. It's not their fault. It's not their fault that this experience was like stupid. But okay, here's the thing. Do you think now that we're talking about like, okay, now we're shitting on food festivals, blah, blah, blah. Now, here's my theory. I feel like food festivals is a great example of a lot of American people, a lot of American culture looking abroad, looking at food festivals in Asia, looking at like these things that other people do and being like, how can we sort of like gentrify that? That's the vibe I'm getting, right? You think about anything so simple from like, you know, you go to Erewhon, they sell kimchi for $40. I felt that because if you think about like, I'm thinking about like, where was a time where I had a really fun time at like a food market? My mind immediately went to two things. One, when I was in college, I went to Taiwan with my friend. I went to the Taiwan night market, and that was like really, really fun. And it's entries free, but it was fun because like the vibes are good. The vibes are fun. You feel like you're in one of those like Miyazaki movies, like in Spirited Away or something. You know, it just feels very festive, right? You have the word festival in there, make it fucking festive. It's at night. Everything is mad cheap, right? Everything's mad cheap. The way it's supposed to be. Because the whole thing about the festival is you walk around, you're like, oh, that shit looks fucking crazy. Let me get a bite of that. It's $2. Cool. I can do that 10 times. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
And I think like that's the part of it is like, where's the, it's good, it's cheap. And also they have like crazy stuff. They're like, what the fuck is that? Like fucking snake blood or whatever. They have crazy shit. Like entertain me, you know? And I think like that was the problem is like, it's not like these foods were good. The food was good, but it's like, oh, you're a fucking barbecue spot. Like I've had barbecue before. Like,
yeah, I think you're right. I think entertainment, but also the other key element is if it was cheap, it wouldn't have mattered. I think I would have had more fun. If everything was like $1 or $2,
yes,
you and I would have been going fucking crazy.
100%.
Right? To taste these restaurants. But we're paying more for the dish outside of the restaurant for a less amount of food, for a handheld amount of food. And the food, honestly, okay, so I talked to a few people who went to this event.
Okay, what
okay, I had two like celebrities go who I asked. I was like, oh, did you have a great time? Because I just ran into them and they're like, I don't know. I thought, I was going VIP. I thought there was going to be like more than just one token. So they actually had... They did the smart thing and asked for more tokens. I don't have that celebrity status, so I didn't even have that mindset of asking. I just like internally was angry. Like,
I know. I got the token. I was like, this is all I deserve. I'm a one token guy, you know.
I remember when the girl gave me the token. I looked at her and I was like, one. Like in line, I was like, one, dude, and she's like, yeah, one. And I was like,
you said one.
Yeah, I actually said, oh, just one. And I did say that.
You always shit on me for being chronically stingy, but I knew this about you, and this is why I wanted to do the podcast with you. I knew, despite your physical outward appearance of this like, posh model, like influencer person, I knew deep inside you're fucking cheap Asian aunt, okay? And I know one of those. I have one of those, all right? I know what you're doing.
It seems like everyone is going through layoffs these days, Fumi. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it's mad scary.
If that's you, listen up. You might be entitled to more rights than you know.
When you get laid off, your employer is probably going to make you sign an NDA before they finalize your layoff, and your company is going to pressure you to sign this document and tell you that if you don't, they're not going to give you your final paycheck. But you should talk to a professional before doing so.
Did you know that you can negotiate your severance pay? Do not accept it right away. It is tempting, but they're going to lay you off, so you need to get as much as you can.
There's also something called the wage transparency law that just passed in March of 2023, which allows you to freely discuss your compensation with your coworkers out in the open to see if you are getting paid around the same or if there's some sort of wage discrimination. You need to know your worth.
If you have any questions about employment issues or layoffs, contact Brianna Kim PC, your Korean lawyer friend, and get some advice. She works on contingencies, so it's free until your case is won. Go to KoreanLawyerFriend.com or leave a voicemail at 714-482-6301. Don't forget to mention Cash Cuties when you reach out. Speaking of food festivals, This episode was sponsored by an anonymous vegan who invites listeners to try eating plant-based for the animals and planet.
You know the festival is bad because when I went with my girlfriend, we were like we were hiking that morning, but we purposely didn't eat because we're gonna get all this food at the festival.
Yes.
We get there, we're eating like a small fucking thing, and we left and we drove to Saltel and had udon afterwards. We left the food festival to get more food because there wasn't enough.
That's bad, dude. That's bad when you don't get that's like it's like when you eat sushi. Do you ever feel that? Like you have to go and get more food after?
Oh, because like it's expensive.
It's
and
just
you're
not. Yeah, and you're just like, okay, let's go
yeah.
get it. And or like these like dude, I had the same thing. I did the exact same thing, dude. I was like, I'm not gonna eat in the morning because I'm gonna get all this free food. I waited, and I didn't go until like 3 or 4 o'clock, because that's when the guest came out, or the speaker, and so I was fucking famished. I didn't even drink coffee. So when I got there, and I got I think that's why I was like one. I was like, one token? I was like confused. Literally, my brain couldn't. Okay, so I went with my friend, and we were talking about the types of people that were there, which is funny because we had this experience separately. Fumi and I were not together, so we experienced, and we didn't even talk about making this an episode or anything. It just happened to be we were so passionate about this.
We were hating so bad.
I know.
We were being such haters.
So for that, we want to thank the people of this festival for inviting us so that we have content to
something
share.
to talk about.
And it's really fun to like just talk about like something so negatively in a way, but also are we just haters? But we're talking about the types of people.
Yes.
And this term dink. Have you heard of what this means?
So I never heard of it, but apparently it's not that new.
No, it's not. Dink, it means double income, no kids. It is for rich people who are wealthy because they don't have children, couples that are wealthy. And that's exactly what it was. It was on the West Side. It was people who maybe didn't experience food from the East Side or weren't as cultured about certain types of food that maybe those are the types of people I think that were buying into this experience. Yeah. They were goobers, again, people, simpletons that, again, not hating. I like them. What?
Bringing it back to your clothing thing about how you're like, if you want to sell basic clothes, go to the West Side. That's exactly what this was, dude. Like,
yes.
You could just tell by what they're wearing. They were like, maybe they live in LA, maybe they don't. It doesn't matter. They're rich, but they like don't have a lot of culture. And it was sort of like, it look okay. Honestly, the people who are having the best time are rich white people who've never had curry. That is a demographic, right? they don't really know spices, and like that was sort of like the vibe. It's like, oh, you're so rich, and I'm sure you don't have kids. You probably both went to like Cornell or something, funny. But you don't know what like okonomiyaki is. You know, so, like you don't. But anyways, so we went to this fucking festival, and we didn't have a great time. But we would love to hear more about your festivals that are happening, your food festivals that are happening in your respective towns. Tell us, is it fun? What's the vibe? Is it expensive? Because, I in a weird way, after going to this, I don't think I'm ever going to go to a food festival ever again. It was that type of experience. I was like, oh, wow, this is a completely waste of time and money and everything,
Oh my God. Next week we'll be at another festival. Just because it's free. I feel like there is this pretentiousness maybe for the two of us that we're experiencing, because I do think that we get into a lot of, because we're around people and like, you worked with James Corden, like you've been around A-listers and things like that. And so you might have experienced where, that you get better treatment.
I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it would be interesting if we release this episode and everybody's like, you guys are being fucking so spoiled. Like, I have no idea. Maybe we are. I can't really tell. I don't think that I
think we are.
I have high expectations for food if I'm going to pay a certain amount. Like, you have to blow my mind if I'm going to pay 15 to 20, And I didn't pay shit. I know that. But other people did. I think if you're going to charge around $15 for 3/4 of what you would get at an actual restaurant, like you have to bring it. It can't be this like chain shit, You have to bring it.
Do you consider yourself a foodie?
No, I don't know what is a foodie.
Someone that
I always think foodie as like somebody who takes pictures of cakes and puts it on Instagram.
Have you done that? Have you done that?
I love food, but like I don't necessarily need the fanciest thing all the time. I do enjoy, one of my favorite places to eat in New York is this place called Udon West on St. Mark's. It's not that good. The service is actually pretty bad considering they're Japanese people, but it's like kind of cheap and like it hits the spot. And like I go there every time I go to New York. Actually, when I went the last time, I think it was like closed or something. So I hope they come back. But like, so I don't think I don't like demand things, but I think I expect a certain like ambiance and vibe. I just want you to make it worth $15 to me, using all the facets of the food experience, whether that's like the dining experience, the service, the food quality, the music, like, you know what I mean? Like everything. Make it worth $15 to me. That's how I feel when I go to these places.
Would you rather go to a restaurant where the service is better than like the food quality than the other way around?
A lot of people like to say, I don't care about the service, it's all about the food. And I used to say that, but recently I had like noodles in Arcadia, some like Chinese spot. It was pretty good, but the service was like so bad and like rude. It like did ruin the flavor for me.
Wow.
So I'm not saying you have to like give
calling
me like,
out the SGV like that.
Shots fired. Shots fired, bro.
A Japanese man going into San Gabriel talking about the aunties in a way that was not
dude,
right
when they
for
brought
you.
my noodles, they like threw the bowl on my table, and so the soup spilled. Like they threw it at me, and I'm like, you can use both hands and set it down. Like I don't think I'm asking. I don't need you to say hi to me. Just now you spill some of the food I paid for on my table. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm losing money. You know what I understand? So it was just like, it does ruin it. And again, I don't need you to be like, doing this shit when I fucking walk in. You don't have to fucking bow to me. I'm just saying like, you can be a fucking human being. So I do, it does like, service does matter to me a little bit for sure.
Oh God.
It doesn't for you?
Nah, I don't care. If someone spilled, if I'm like that with like service people, I feel like I'm always like, if they spilled, I would say sorry. Like I'm like, you do not want. I guess in my head I'm like, I don't know if they want to be working there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they like that job, but it seems like an annoying job to have is to serve other people. So like and if it's not, again, I'm assuming if you were eating noodles out in the SGV, it's not like a 3-star restaurant or plus, I'm talking about stars like at Yelp, like the little stars there. So I don't expect that. I don't expect like good service everywhere. I want at a place like that, it's literally part of the culture for them to like be rude. Like I think maybe I expected. Were you going in there expecting that you were gonna get normal service?
I didn't expect good service. I didn't think they would throw the bowl of noodles at me. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be assaulted. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to be attacked. Also, another thing about service. It's interesting.
Were they like, was this calding hot enough for you, Fumi?
It's interesting you say like, oh, bad service is part of the culture. That makes me laugh because I went to eat Korean barbecue recently with like 5 people. And none of us were Korean, so we don't really know what we're doing. And so I was like the only Asian person there, so I had to like sort of try to talk to the waiter and like figure out what's going on.
Wait, you were the only Asian, so like you just felt like you had to.
Yeah, I just felt like they were looking at me. All the whites were looking at me. I was like, I guess like by proxy I can try to talk to this.
That's so funny.
But they fucked me, dude. They fucked me. So I was like, what should we get? Like there's 4 of us. Like we're not like super hungry, but we want to eat stuff. And they're like, you should get this. And they like pointed at something kind of expensive, but I'm like, well, I think the meat quality here is really good. And it was really good, but it was way too much food. And they fucked us. They fucked us so hard because they just wanted money from us. And they made us order that. And like, it was good, but it was so much food that by the end, we were all going to fucking throw up, and it completely ruined it was really good until like 40 minutes in. Then we were like, I'm gonna fucking throw up. Like I cannot eat any more of this. And it kind of like ruined the experience a little bit. They fucked us, man. They fucked us.
I think it's a control. I'm gonna say all these things are, you have control tendencies. Again, I'm going back to this control thing where you're like, it needs to be exactly the expectation that I set up which is there should be this amount of food that I expected at the same way you were like the soup should have been contained in the bowl. You know, you're like there shouldn't be anything external that I'm not aware of or ready for within the food experience, dining experience. Can I say this? Is this correct?
My question for you is, you can say whatever you want, but why have you been so abused in the dining world that where you're like, yeah, they should throw soup at my fucking face. Yeah, Fumi, why are you complaining of throwing food at you? Like, that's insane to me. Like, I don't think I'm being a diva at all to pay money. Good money. I mean, it's like $15 for fucking whatever. They're throwing it at me, Steffi. How is that? How am I supposed to be like, oh, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I'm wrong for not bringing a baseball glove. That's on me, you know?
Maybe I like being abused in that way.
Yeah, you have a little BDSM thing
with
with food.
They're like, yeah, throw that shit. The messier, the better, baby.
Yo, that's
you know,
definitely
and you're you're completely the opposite person.
That's definitely a role playing thing that people are like. Do you think Asian couples into BDSM do like a thing where it's like customer versus rude waiter? They're in the bedroom, and then the customer doesn't leave a tip, and then you've been a bad boy, and she throws a fucking bowl of soup at him, and his dick's all on fire.
So funny. Okay, there was this time that my boyfriend was Korean, and our dirty talk sometimes. I wasn't like really into dating Korean men necessarily. Like that's not my thing. But this Korean guy, he spoke Korean, and so we do dirty talk where we talk about like because our Korean isn't like naturally like what we would use, I guess, in dirty talk. We just decided to try it in Korean, and so we didn't have any like phrases to say, so we were just like saying Korean phrases, like Korean things we would order at a restaurant, like bibimbap, and then just saying those things in an accent like this, being like, like mix that bibimbap really good, but in Korean, we'd be like, oh, put more gochujang in that. Oh yes, baby, like it was so funny.
God.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Have you ever done that in a different dirty talk in a different language, or even just having sex in a different language is weird?
Yeah, I actually have a bit about this because when we had Atsuko on the podcast, I like thought of something that's like similar to this, where it's like, it's funny because a lot of Asian Americans, you know, maybe they feel that their second language is like not good enough to dirty talk or doesn't know the nuances. I think for me, like I went to school and stuff, but my Japanese is very formal. So like if I'm hooking up with a Japanese girl and if she's like, you like my ass or something, and like instead of being like, oh yeah, that feels so fucking good, I'll be like, I derive many pleasures from, you know what I mean? Like I just sound like I'm in the Lord of the Rings or something, you know? It's like too formal. So that's my issue, I think.
You have your colonizer voice. Your Japanese colonization at like 19th.
Sign this treaty and sign over your lands, you know? We now own you.
I now formally own your ass.
I put a Japanese flag on her ass.
Yeah, exactly. Fucker. You.
In her asshole. It's like a butt plug with a Japanese flag on it. Cuties, thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed the episode. If you want to support us, please support us on patreon.com/cashcutiespod, and you'll get a shout out on the podcast as well as bonus content. Steffi's always posting weird shit on there. Follow us on all the socials at cashcutiespod, and you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at thefumiabe, that's TheFumiabe. I'm also going on a mini tour this summer, so if you want to come see me live, do stand up in your city, go to fumiabe.com for tickets.
Hell yeah, go see him. You can find me at Baked Goods on my Instagram, BAIKEDGUDS, and my website, steffybake.com. And send us the voice memo, and see you guys next week. Until then, spend your money wisely. Or have fun. That was weird. Why did I do it?
You took my line.
I know that was weird. I just read it.
Line. No, it's fine.
I know. It's a role.
It's been a weird episode with the ghost. You know, I feel like the ghost was our guest. Anyways, we love you, cuties. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.